everyone, my name is Lee Xin Lee, matrix number 262714.
Hi, my name is DG Eun and my norm matrix is 284967.
Hi, my name is QVJ. My matrix number is 2x7637.
Hi, my name is Chu Mei Jing and my matrix number is 285514.
Hi everyone, I am Lai Soki and my matrix number is 285529.
Foodborne illness is a foodborne disease outbreak which is defined as an incident in which two or more people experience a similar illness after eating a common food. Foodborne illness can be caused by contaminants, improper food handling practices, and food allergies. In the city of Kuala Terengganu, Malaysia, there have been 99 food poisoning cases as a result of the consumption of pudding buih, which contained eggs that were 2 weeks past their expiration date. The spoiled pudding buih was consumed on or around May 22nd, 2020 and affected around 20 families and even caused some of them to seek medical attention from nearby public and private hospitals.
In this video, I would like to talk about one of the causes of foodborne illness, which is Campylobacter. Campylobacter is a genus of gram-negative bacteria, and the most known source is poultry. Campylobacter causes 1.3 million illnesses each year in the US, and occasionally can result in Guillain-Barré syndrome, a potentially devastating neurologic disorder. So, how come people will come down with Campylobacter infection? Most cases are traced to eating raw or undercooked poultry, including chicken, turkey, duck, goose, and other farm birds, or food that has come into contact with raw poultry. Besides that, drinking raw or unpasteurized milk or contaminated water also has been linked to Campylobacter illness. Thus, what are some symptoms about Campylobacter infection? First of all, people with Campylobacter infection usually have diarrhea, stomach cramps, and fever. Nausea and vomiting may accompany the diarrhea. These symptoms usually start 2 to 5 days after the person ingests Campylobacter and last about 1 week. For those people with weakened immune system, such as for those with a blood disorder, with AIDS, or receiving chemotherapy, Campylobacter occasionally spread the bloodstream and causes a life-threatening infection. Here are some ways to prevent Campylobacter infection. Firstly, wash your hands thoroughly with soap and water before, during, and after preparing food. Besides that, always keep certain foods separated. For instance, keep raw poultry away from other foods. Use separate cutting boards and clean them properly. For example, use one cutting board for raw meat and another cutting board for fresh fruit and vegetables. And don't forget to clean all cutting boards, countertops, and utensils with soap and hot water after preparing any type of raw meat. Moreover, we need to cook food to the right temperature, especially poultry, includes chicken, duck, turkey, and goose. We should be cooked to reach a minimum internal temperature of 165 degrees Fahrenheit. In conclusion, Campylobacter will able to treat our healthy when we don't practice proper food handling. Foodborne illness will continue to be a matter of major concern around the world. Therefore, we need to practice good personal hygiene to ensure our healthy and for our family and friends. Thank you.
Today I will present about one of the foodborne illness, which is Acrasis umbilicae, or as known as parasite. In our daily life, there is another foodborne illness we should be careful about, which is the Acrasis umbilicae, or as known as parasite. It is one of the most common infection affected the travelers and is grouped under intestinal parasitic infections (IPI). In Southeast Asia, it is accounts of a large number of Acrasis cases with 126 million infected individuals. Malaysia has not been spared from the burdens of the crisis, particularly among the poor communities such as the Orang Asli. In 1988, the status of a hemi-infection among the children living in the slum area of Kuala Lumpur was assessed with 50% of this infection due to Acrasis lumbricoid. This indicates that the frequency of the Acrasis lumbricoid infection was age-dependent, suggesting lower incidence in infants than in older children. But how people will get infected by this creature? Ascaris parasite living in human intestine or the other animal intestine. Ascaris passes in the feces of the infected people who defecates outside, or if the feces of the infected people are used as the fertilizer, and the worm egg will be deposited into the soil. The infections happen when the hands and fingers are contaminated with dirt and put into the mouth, or by eating the vegetable or fruits that has not been peeled, washed, and cooked. Infection has no symptom at the 85% of the cases, especially when the number of the worm is less or small. Symptoms will be increased with the number of the worm present and includes shortness of breath and fever in the beginning of the disease. This may be followed by the symptom of abdominal swelling, abdominal pain, and diarrhea. All these symptoms are differently according to personal health conditions. Children are the most commonly affected categories, and in this age group, the infection may also cause poor weight gain, malnutrition, and learning problems for the kids. Usually, the Ascaris will live in the human or mammal small intestine, and they will reproduce and get nutrition from the host body. If the Ascaris does not get enough nutrition from the host, they will start to migrate to the other part of the body, such as your eyes, your nose, or your brains. Alternative medications such as albendazole and methbendazole are the drugs of the choice treatment of Acrasis infections, regardless the species of worm. The infection generally treated for 1 to 3 days, and the drugs are effective and appear to have a few side effects. A surgery will be applied to the person who infected to this parasite if it happens intestinal ulcer or blockage. The best way to prevent people from getting Acrasis parasites from humans and animals is always to do the following. Number 1. Avoid ingesting soil that may be contaminated with human or animal feces, including where human feces matter or night soil, waterways, or animal manure is used to fertilize crops. Number 2. Wash your hands with soap and water before handling food. Number 3. Wash your hands with soap and water after touching or handling animals, cleaning animals' pens, and handling animals' manure. Number 4. Teach children the importance of washing hands to prevent infections. Number 5. Supervise children allow animals, ensuring they are not put unwashed hands in their mouth. Number 6. Wash, peel, or cook all raw vegetables and fruits before eating, particularly those that have been grown in soil that has been fertilized with manure.
Salmonella infection can cause a variety of symptoms, most commonly.
So, what is Salmonella? Don't. Okay, I know. Salmonella is one of the bacteria that can found in the intestinal tract. Normally, the Salmonella bacteria are living in humans and blooded animals' intestinal, and they are excreted through feces. And humans will be infected by this bacterium through the contaminated water or foods. What will cause the Salmonella infection? Salmonella infection can come from a variety of foods such as beef, chicken, pork, eggs, and so on. But the food that I mentioned there is not only the way Salmonella spread to the people, and it also can spread through contaminated water, the environment, and the animals. Thus, Salmonella can spread from many ways and cause the people to get this bacterium. Typically, the people who are infected by the Salmonella may have some symptoms, and these symptoms may recover within a few days without any treatment by the people who are healthy. So, what are the symptoms that will happen to the humans? The symptoms can be nausea, vomiting, fever, diarrhea, chills, head itch, and so on. These symptoms can be said that the people are eating the raw or uncooked meat, poultry, eggs, and milks. And these symptoms of salmonella generally last 2 to 7 days, and the symptoms of diarrhea may last up to 10 days. The symptoms of salmonella bacteria, some of the people can recover it without any specific treatment. But if the people who are in high risk category, which is elderly or the people who are impaired immune and so on, the medication need to use by them because salmonella can lead to dehydrating. For instance, if the people who are in high risk category, they may use the medication which is antibiotics. This is because antibiotics only can treat the people who are severely ill, or it can be said that it is recommended for the high risk category. In fact, the antibiotics may prolong the bacteria and infect others, and it can increase the risk of relapse as well. Besides that, the people who have the symptoms, which is diarrhea, the people should drink more water if diarrhea lasts, or have a medication which is anti-diarrhea. Medications such as loperamide can help to relieve cramping. It may prolong the diarrhea related with the salmonella infection as well. Therefore, we may follow the steps to prevent the salmonella bacteria, such as clean, separate, cook, and chill. Here, I will give the example. For clean, we can wash our hands using soap and cleaning. For the separate, which is keeping the raw meats, eggs, seafoods separate from other foods in the refrigerator. While cook is using a food thermometers to ensure that the food are cooking at a safe internal temperature. And the last one is chill, which is keeping the refrigerator at colder. So I want to tell you about the news that caused by salmonella bacteria. The salmonella strain behind a foodborne outbreak in Malaysia has been killed 2 people, which has been identified by the authorities. The Malaysian Ministry of Health, which is KKM, say that the food poisoning is caused by the salmonella welderaden. The total number of salmonella is 83 cases, which is 34 infections in Perak, 25 cases in Kedah, and 24 cases in Selangor. KKM say that the salmonella case suspected source is consumption of laksa, which is a type of noodle soup. The reason that caused the food poisoning could be the process of preparing the foods and the storage of noodles unclean, and the temperature during processing are not sufficient to kill the bacteria. So this is the reason that why the people will die because of this bacteria. Last but not least, salmonella is very dangerous for us because it can cause severe reaction, even death for the individual who in high risk category. So in order to maintain our health, we need to pay more attention while preparing the foods. That's all for me. Thank you.
Before entering the topic, I want to share a journal article with you, which is Norovirus Outbreak Among Students of a Boarding School in Klang, Johor, Malaysia. These outbreaks were determined first time in Malaysia. You can refer this link on website. In this journal article, 12 fresh student and 14 food samples were tested for norovirus and enteric pathogens respectively. Out of 745 students, 42, which is 5.6%, were infected during this outbreak. The dissemination of the disease was due to poor hygiene practice among students. Quarantine was imposed until the last case on September 28, 2016. The outbreak was declared over on September 30, 2016. This means the environmental assessment should poor hygienic conditions in the school's kitchen. The number of infected students increased quite despite the implementation of preventive and control measures. Based on the research, we can note that the norovirus is a very contagious virus, and this norovirus most common cause of inflammation of the stomach of intestine, and we can call it gastroenteritis. Norovirus results in about 685 million cases of disease and 200,000 deaths globally a year. It is common both in the developed and developing world. Those under the age of 5 are most often affected, and in this group it results in about 50,000 deaths in the developing world. Norovirus infection occur more commonly during winter months. Anyone can get infected and sick from this norovirus. This virus is usually spread by the fecal oral route. We can get norovirus if we have direct contact with an infected person, consuming contaminated food or water, and touching contaminated surface, and then putting our unwashed hands in our mouth. So what are the common symptoms when we get infected from this norovirus? There are some of the common symptoms, which is vomiting, watering their hair, nausea, abdomen pain, fever, headache, body ache, especially arms and legs, and in some cases will loss of taste. These symptoms usually develop 12 to 48 hours after being exposed, and recovery typically occurs within 1 to 3 days. In addition, complications are uncommon but may include dehydration. These symptoms especially occur in the young and old people, those with other health problems. People who are dehydration will decrease in the urination, dry mouth and root, and feeling dizzy when standing up. So what are the treatments can treat when we get infected from this norovirus? According to the National Health Service, or we can call it in short form NHS, there are no specific medicine of treatments and vaccine for this norovirus. This because norovirus being a non-enveloped virus. Even alcohol-based hand sanitizers and antibiotic drugs are not effective against the norovirus. This because antibiotic drugs fight bacteria, no virus. We can treat ourselves or our child at home while we get infected from this norovirus, because most important thing is to rest and have lots of fluids to avoid dehydration. So we need to supportive care such as drinking sufficient of enough fluids of intravenous fluids, because oral rehydration solutions are the preferred fluids to drink, and sport drinks without caffeine or alcohol can help with mild dehydration, although it may not replace the important nutrients and minerals. Last but not least, norovirus is very dangerous to humans because it is a contagious virus and it not have specific medicines of treatments of vaccine to treat. Hence, it will lead to the death rate increase every year. So we need to take care of our own cleanliness, like wash hands before and after eating and handling food better, so that we can avoid foodborne illness in our life.
Staph food poisoning is a gastrointestinal illness. The factor that can cause this illness happen is eating food which are contaminated with toxin produced by the bacterium which is called Staphylococcus aureus bacteria. Staphylococcus aureus is the most dangerous of the all common staphylococcal bacteria. According to a news Vita Science report released today by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, there are nearly 119,000 people suffered bloodstream Staphylococcus aureus infection in United States in 2017, and there are nearly 20,000 people dead. So what is Staphylococcus aureus? Staphylococcus aureus is gram-positive round-shaped bacteria. This organism can grow in up to 10% salt and at temperatures between 18 degrees Celsius to 40 degrees Celsius. There is estimated that about 20% to 30% of the human population are long-term carriers of Staphylococcus, which are found on their skin, hair, hands, and in their nose and throat. It also will be found in burns, infected cuts and wounds, pimples, and boils. It usually won't cause illness in people's health, but has the ability to make toxins that can cause food poisoning. The food will be contaminated with Staphylococcus aureus if we don't wash our hands before touching the food. This makes the bacteria will multiply in the food and produce toxins that can make people get illness. Even staph bacteria will die after cooking, but the toxins which are in the food won't be destroyed. The example for the food which have a high risk to contaminated with staph are sliced meats, puddings, pastries, and sandwiches. Food which is contaminated with staph toxin may not smell bad or look spoiled. The symptoms of staph food poisoning are nausea, vomiting, abdominal cramps, diarrhea, and headaches. It will happen within 30 minutes to 8 hours and not longer than a day. This illness won't be passed from person to person, but it can pass from food. For example, you didn't wash your hand when preparing food will cause those who have eaten the food which is prepared by you to get staph food poisoning. If we get this illness, how we can treat it? The most important treatment is drinking plenty of waters. We also can eat medicine to decrease vomiting and nausea which you buy from the healthcare center. But pay attention. Antibiotics are not useful as a treatment medicine in this illness. We also have some ways to prevent ourselves to get staph food poisoning. The best way for us to avoid staph food poisoning is to prevent food from being held at an unsafe temperature which is between 40 degrees Fahrenheit and 140 degrees Fahrenheit for more than 2 hours. We also need to wash our hands with soap and water before, during, and after prepare and eat food. We are avoiding to prepare food if ill with diarrhea or vomiting. When we prepare our food, we also need to wear gloves to avoid our skin touch the food. In short, Staphylococcus aureus is one of the common foodborne germs. It is because it is always in our surroundings such as on our skin and in our nose. If we do not pay attention to our hygiene when touching the food, it will cause us to get staph food poisoning. So, hygiene and sanitation are very important ways to avoid us to get illness in our daily life.